Hello, everybody. Let's get a little news going on. Dead couple without will leaves behind problem for neighbors in the villages. Yes, there's many properties here that people's passed away. Sorry to hear, but they don't have a will. Some do have children that just simply don't want anything to do with the property. Some don't have children, and without a will, the property's in limbo for I don't know how long it takes, but apparently for long periods of time. Villages' hands are kind of tied about what they can and can't do about it. So weeds grow, bushes don't get done, mold grows on the house, and it's a big frustration for the neighbors. So it's a problem that needs to be addressed. A dead couple without a will left behind a problem for their neighbors in the villages. The home at 1221 Pompano Lane on the historic side of the villages was the subject of a public hearing Wednesday afternoon before Village Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors of Santa Bana Center. Man, that is just a long title. The home is owned by Diane Greenberg Estate. A neighbor said she is dead and so is her husband. They apparently did not have a will and no family members have stepped to the plate. Therefore, the property remains in limbo. The manufactured home dates back to 1989. The Greenbergs bought the home in 2012 for $97,000. You know, it's a shame that he's somebody to take over the property and just put it up for sale, especially now. Homes are selling like crazy. And even though this house, I'm looking at it, I'll have pictures up here. It's if you look at it, it looks decrepit. It really does. But basically, if you really look at it, what you see is yard maintenance. That's really what you see. And I'm saying for $69, $70, get a good house wash company to come in and clean the outside of the house. The outside will be done. Your neighbors will be relaxed. A complaint was received August 23rd by community standards regarding overgrown grass and weeds. The complaint was verified the following day. The utilities at the property have been shut off. Neighbors attended Wednesday's public hearing. Hopefully that something will be done about the property. Does that mean it's going to continue to be like this? Asked Anita Lewis, who lives directly behind the abandoned home. The board voted unanimously to find the homeowner in violation of deed restrictions. Board granted 3 days to bring the property into compliance. Guys, use your common sense. They're dead. Give them 3 days. What's the matter with you? It's not a series of fines that will be imposed on the district. We'll begin cutting the grass. Maybe it's a legal issue, the reason why they got to give them 3 days. But what's 3 days going to do here? They're dead. Nobody's taking control of the property. Just get it done. Villager Craig Estep takes gavel to lead Sumter County Commission. Only thing I'll say is good luck. Here's another one. A home on the historic side of the villages appears to be the victim of neglect. The manufactured home located at 1125 Paradise Drive and owned by the Theodore DeRose Jr. Estate was the subject of a public hearing Wednesday afternoon in front of the Villages Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. A complaint was received September 9. Community standards regarding overgrown grass and weeds on the property. The violation was verified the following day. The utilities are current and there does not appear to be a mortgage on the home. The real estate taxes have been paid for 2020. The homeowners were given 3 days to bring the property into compliance. I want to make one little statement. Somebody had made comments on the news, I think, of one of my news, and that's fine. Good comments, bad comments, that's fine. I don't just stop any of them unless you get personally insulting, then they're going to disappear. But they made a comment about, I forget which one it was, one of the homes that were going to they were talking about power washing a home. They don't have the authority to do that right now. And the district was saying, how far do we, go with our authority? And I understand what they're talking about, because here's what could happen. If they say, okay, we're going to start power washing houses when they get out of compliance, we're just going to start power washing them. We're charge you, say, $50. Well, everybody's just going to say, hey, for $50, I'm not washing the house. I'm not going to hire this guy over here to do it. He wants $75. I'm just going to let the villages do it. They're just going to sit back and let you do it. So that's why the villages makes it, what is $100 an hour or something like that. I don't remember the exact story, but it was a high price. And when I read it, I thought, "Ooh, that's high price." Think about it. I understand they make it high enough to where you ain't going to want them to wash your house. They don't want to wash houses, but if they have to, that's going to be the price. That's why the price is that high, or otherwise everybody's just going to sit back and go, I'll just let them wash it. And that's what would happen. So kudos to the villages for coming up with that plan. Growth of the villages spills over with need for a satellite facility for the village's palm. That's a landscaping company. They do everything there. They've been here for a long while. They do a great job. I've seen a lot of their work. Thoroughly professional the way they do things. I didn't like the guy's attitude that came to my house here not too long ago. He just had this real arrogant attitude of, we don't want to do this. It's just not big enough for us, kind of thing. Which I told him what I wanted done on the phone. If I didn't want to do it, I wish I'd just said something on the phone so I wouldn't have wasted my day. Wouldn't have wasted this guy's time, because obviously he felt like he was wasting his time here. That's the only thing. And I know they got a minimum charge now too, like a lot of them do. Since COVID, they started doing that. And the villages are getting big enough now where some of these landscape companies, they can pretty much pick and choose the jobs they want to do to make the most amount of money that they can make. And I understand that too. But just do us all a favor, villages palms. If the job isn't big enough, when somebody talks to you on the phone about what it is, don't send somebody out that's going to come in with that kind of an attitude, because it really makes you look bad. That's my only statement of that. But as far as villages palms goes, they do excellent work. They're thoroughly professional the way they do things. You won't have a problem with it. What do they charge? You need to call them. Hygiene and food temperature issues. An inspector was forced to stop the sale of Chorizo for fear of harmful health effects during an unexpected visit to a Mexican restaurant in the villages. Numerous violations were cited November 1 during a health inspection of Fiesta Grande Mexican Grill at Brownwood Paddock Square. What? I went to that restaurant 2 or 3 times. It was fantastic. The complaint sheet was so full of follow-up inspections was required. The temperature abuse of the chorizo shrimp was so alarming that the inspector immediately imposed a stop sale order, according to the inspection report, on file with Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations. There were also stop sale orders issued for shredded pork, chicken, raw shrimp, and beef. Beans and ground beef had grown so lukewarm that the inspector ordered they be reheated to proper in temperature. The restaurant manager voluntarily discarded guacamole, which had grown too warm, the report indicated. An insect zapper is used over cornstarch and hot sauce. That seems kind of gross. Bottled beer is in an unlocked storage unit outside the restaurant. Employee face mask tucked above a microwave on the cook's line, and employee t-shirts and fanny pack found in a food storage area. The inspector returned November 5 and found that all the violations had been remedied. Villagers raised $18,100 for the sheriff office's kids, cop, and Christmas program. Way to go. You'll find here in villages that the residents around are always volunteering to do a lot of stuff. I probably don't give them enough credit, but I try to bring it up whenever I think about it, or whenever I see something that kind of reminds me. I mean, they volunteer about a lot of stuff. They volunteer to go up to the different hospitals. They go to nursing homes. I call them nursing homes. I know it's not politically correct, but you are on the village's unpolitically correct channel. But at the nursing homes here, assisted living, they go in there. They volunteer to go in and sit with these people and talk to them, and just to chat. Some of these stories are pretty damn interesting. I've talked to some of these people, and they'll talk about some things that, wow, it's like, and you were there. Tinted windows led to the arrest of a pair from Texas on Interstate 75 in Sumter County. Avery Autumn Shepard, 20, of Midland, Texas, was driving a black 2017 Chevrolet pickup truck with an expired temporary Texas tag at about 12:30 p.m. Tuesday on Interstate 75 near mile marker 314 when a trooper with the Florida Highway Patrol noticed the vehicle's side windows had extremely dark tint. The vehicle was pulled over at a Sunoco gas station in Bushnell. Shepard and passenger passenger 22-year-old Ivan Alberto Galaz of San Antonio both claimed they did not have a driver's license or identification with them. Apparently these kids don't realize that that's the law. A K-9 unit was summoned to the scene and a dog alert on the vehicle indicating the likelihood of presence of drugs. Galaz was found to be in possession of methamphetamine, drug paraphernalia, and set of brass knuckles. Apparently this was the second person that's had brass knuckles that don't realize it's against the law. Galaz was arrested on charges of possession of a controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, and carrying a concealed weapon. Shepard was arrested on charges of driving on an expired license and possession of drug paraphernalia. Both were taken into custody and booked at Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $3,500 bond. She posted $1,000 bond and was released. Letters to the editor. The major drink producer, Coke, Pepsi, etc., are advertising that they now are using recyclable plastic to include top caps in their plastic bottles to protect the environment and to reuse valuable resources. To take advantage of this, consumers, the villagers, must have access to a process that allows those items to be conveniently and consistently segregated from all other trash. However, the current trash pickup process does not allow for such segregation, neither in the village's facilities nor home trash pickup. So one wonders, what are the village's management officials doing to modify current trash collection policies and establish collection contracts to allow this recycling to occur in the villages? That was sent in by B. Howard Bill Penix from the Hacienda of Mission Hills. Cherry Lake Road homeowners fears surge in traffic from huge new development. Just wait. Wildwood has approved so many apartment and different development areas around here that just wait. Traffic is just going to be, I can't even imagine. Hopefully they'll do some road projects. Hopefully they'll start doing them before the project actually gets started. Hopefully they'll be done before the projects are finished to be able to handle this traffic. But I don't hear any and I don't see any. Officials contend it's time to freshen up holiday decorations at town squares. Yep, they're getting ready for Christmas. The Christmas tree lightings, there'll be one at each square, and I'm assuming there'll be a Christmas tree lighting down in the newer area, even though their square isn't done yet. But I'm sure somewhere down there they'll have a tree. I don't know where. They'll have a tree down there. Villager skips public hearing and refuses to acknowledge problematic roof. He probably doesn't care. I think I've mentioned this before, that after a certain age, you just get to the point you just don't care. You figure, you could be gone any day. And so you speak your mind, you say what you got to say, and people don't like it. They don't care. A villager skipped the public hearing this week and is refusing to acknowledge a problematic roof at his home. The public hearing was held Wednesday afternoon in front of the Village Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. The supervisors were presented with photographic evidence of problems at the home at 1013 Vermont Avenue on the historic side of the villages. The complaint was received August 30th about the roof's damaged membrane. Community Standards has spoken to the homeowner, Kenneth Jones, on several occasions. However, he said he was not going to take care of the roof and indicated he would not attend a public hearing. There you go. The VCCDD board unanimously agreed to fine Jones in violation of deed compliance rules. He was given 7 days to bring the property into compliance. If he fails to bring the property into compliance, he will face a $150 fine, followed by $50 daily fines until the problem is remedied. And he probably won't do it. He don't care about your fines. He's just going to stay there till he dies, and then he figures you can have it. That's probably what he's thinking. So 90-year-old villager has won another delay in a hit-and-run case with injured husband and wife. Okay, it was both of them. And the hit-and-run was, she hit him, she actually got out of her car, walked to the back of the car, saw these people laying on the ground, got in the car, and then drove home. I don't care 90 years old or not. I wouldn't have any sympathy whatsoever if I was on a juror. He wouldn't want me on this trial. I'd have to dismiss myself because I would tell the judge I'm prejudiced in this case. Marilyn Hamilton of the village of Fernandina had been scheduled for case management this past Tuesday in Sumter County Court. Her attorney sought a continuance in the case, and Hamilton's court date has been rescheduled for December 14th, according to the court document. Hamilton has pleaded not guilty to felony counts of hit and run. She is charged with hitting village of Dunedin resident Jessica Laub and Robert Hunter, who had been riding on Morse Boulevard on October 30th, 2020. 2020. Sorry, I thought it was Hillsborough Trail, but apparently it's Morris Boulevard. They were both struck by a white Mercedes driven by Hamilton. She allegedly stopped, looked at the crumbled bicycles on the ground, and backed up in her car and then fled the scene. She had her damaged 2014 Mercedes towed to a dealership in Gainesville, leading to her arrest on November 5, 2020 at her home on Twisted Oak Way. Lube was airlifted to Ocala Regional Medical Center, where she remained in an intensive care unit for 30 days. Be careful, people, down here. Seabreeze Recreation Center will be closed Tuesday. Chatham Recreation Center will be closed on Wednesday. An exasperated official has declared there has to be a better way to deal with out-of-compliance homes with dead owners in the villages. The Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors on Friday morning was faced with the problem of an out-of-compliance home at 1203 San Bernardo Road in the San Leandro Villas. The owner of the villa died this past July 13th. She and her husband Rodney purchased the home in 1999 for $105,000. He preceded her in death. Caroline Hunt graduated from the University of Minnesota with a master's degree in public health administration and was the catalyst in opening the first hospital in the villages, according to her obituary. The complaint was received by Community Standards on September 22 regarding a dirty exterior villa wall. The complaint was verified the following day. There does not appear to be a mortgage on the home, but the utilities are past due. The board gave the homeowner 5 days to bring the property into compliance. If not, a series of fines will be imposed. There has to be a better way to deal with abandoned houses than what we are doing, said Supervisor Jim Kipalone. Hacienda of Mission Hills swimming pool will be closed Monday. Home in village of Calumet Grove could be fined for dirty driveway. I've done a video about that. A homeowner in the village of Calumet Grove can be fined for a dirty driveway. The home, owned by Susan Walton at 16877 Southeast 80th Ash Grove Terrace, gosh, in the villas of Morning View, was the subject of a public hearing Friday afternoon before the Community Development District Board of Supervisors. A complaint was received September 22nd by Community Standards about a dirty driveway. The violation was verified the following day. Community Standards left a phone message and sent email to the homeowner, but did not receive a response. Certified mail regarding the issue was sent in October to the homeowner. The homeowner did not attend Friday's public hearing. Homeowner given more time to deal with dead sod problem in the villages. That's another problem, and it's an issue. And I understand this one because I had the same issue, and I ended up having to hire somebody. Villager jailed after attack on wife after dinner and drinks at town square. A villager was arrested on an alleged attack on his wife after they had dinner and drinks at Lake Sumter Landing. Richard Nelson, 61 years old, was arrested early Friday morning at his home at 3229 Dresendorf Drive in the village of Pine Ridge. Dresendorf Drive is named after a village realtor. I can't think of her first name, but her last name is Dresendorf. I think she's still down there. She's up there in age, but the old gal still cranking them houses out and still selling them. She actually showed us around years and years ago, and she was the first realtor that told me that I could not buy a home here because I wasn't old enough. I don't know whatever happened to that rule. She said that when they returned home from the square, they began to argue over female attention her husband had been receiving during their evening out. You dog, you. The judge rules little white crosses considered a lawn ornament in the villages. That means that when they took it to court, these people that's been complaining, they were issued, well, a lot of them have been issued to take those white crosses out of their flower beds because they say it's an ornament in their yard, and these restrictions says you can't have yard ornaments. Well, they were all saying it was a religious right and, you know, how it goes. And the judge ruled, no, it's a lawn ornament. They have to go. I mean, he's not going to do it. I mean, mean, they're just not. They're going to continue with this because it's the most ridiculous fight I've ever heard in my life. It's downright stupid. It's asinine. There's just not a good reason for it. That's my opinion. There's just not a reason for it. They know what the rules was for they bought here, and so that's the way it is. Now, here's the thing that people don't understand. They'll say, "Well, how's come that guy over there had to take his cross out when straight across the street there's another guy that's got a white cross in his yard and he still got it? They didn't make him take his out." It's a community complaint based area. The Villages is complaint-based community. If nobody complains about that cross across the street, then it's allowed to stay because nobody complained. If they're telling you to get yours out of the flower bed, somebody complained about that cross. That's why community standards got involved. That's how it works. Residents must follow adopted guidelines in holiday decoration policy. Remember, I did a report on that here a few months ago about people who were complaining because they put up their decorations for some holiday. I forget what holiday it was. Maybe it was Easter. And they said they took them down and then they confiscated them and you had to go pick them up. And they were all upset about it. Well, there's rules about it. They can only be so tall. They can't be right next to the gate. They can't be, restrictions of where they can be. And so they redid the rule to allowing them to put certain things up. But in them rules said they had to be so many feet here or there, so many feet tall here or there, whatever the rules are, which I don't remember, so I'm not even going to try to repeat them. And so that's what this article is about. Christmas is coming, and Thanksgiving is coming. And so decorating everybody's entrance gate is kind of a big deal. And so they're going to start putting this stuff up. And they're telling them right off the get-go that if you don't follow the guidelines, I think if I remember right, they're not going to confiscate them anymore, but they're going to take them down and lay them off to the side for you to pick them up later. So just keep that in mind. Hundreds of riders pedal in hearts for our hospital fundraiser. Here's another one. I mean, in the Villages, there's a lot of fundraising that goes on. A lot. They do a really good job in getting money for elderly, and Christmas is a big thing. Villagers could soon be facing fines over mold growing on her home. There's another one. The home at 2715 De La Rosa Street in the village of Alhambra was the subject of a public hearing Friday before the Community Development District Board of Supervisors at the Savannah Center. Boy, Savannah Center must be busy. A complaint was received September 20th about the home mold growing on the home. The violation was verified the following day. Community Standards spoke to the homeowner, Antoinette Pacelli, and she initially indicated a willingness to resolve the problem. However, follow-up phone calls and voice messages have not been returned. Pacelli bought the home in 2015, paying $153,000. The board voted to give her 5 days to correct the problem. If not, she'll be fined $150, followed by daily fines of $50. Southside Recreation Center and adult pool will be closed. Anti-Trumper accused of stalking fellow villager due in court this week. I can read that article. I've read that a couple of times. You know what he's in there for, what trouble he's in. We'll see how the court comes out. Officials worried about impact rising costs and inflation could have on villagers. Going to have a lot of impact, not just on villagers, everybody. More so on us probably because we're basically all on a fixed income. It's not going to be good. You just can't be giving trillions of dollars away, not worried about it. You just can't print money and throw it around and thinking there's no repercussion of this. For all you millennials that want something for nothing, I say, just get off your ass and go get a job. What we did. World famous Glenn Miller Orchestra to perform in the Villages. See, around October is when the snowbirds start floating in. And then from here now all the way up until, they don't really start going home now till the end of May. Used to be January through March, and then around April, they started going home. That's all changed. So when I say October is the start of the snowbirds coming back, trust me when I tell you that October is when the snowbirds start coming back. Laurel Manor Recreation Center and Sports Pool to shut down. Churchill Street Recreation Center and Pool to be closed. Donations of Christmas decorations sought to benefit struggling families. Oh my God, I could go to the attic and give you so much stuff, but Sue won't let me. That's another thing I think is one thing that we kind of miss here as retired people, not just the Villages, I'll just say as retired people that moved down here. All of our grandkids are all grown. They're all in their 30s and some older. I do have a couple of great-grandchildren, but we don't hardly ever see them. And one is in the extreme northern part of North Dakota. I met him once. He won't know who I am anyway. But we do send gift cards and stuff to all of them so their parents can buy whatever they need. We don't know what they need. But the decorations of Christmas, when we had our children were little and our grandchildren when they were little, we had, like probably everybody else, I'm just rambling here, we had big Christmas. I mean, we had Christmas gifts under the tree that just fell out into the room. I mean, they were just everywhere. And we had lights around the outside of the house, on the roof, in the front yard, around every window. Inside the house was decorations hanging from the ceiling. They were everywhere. And we don't do that here. I do have a small Christmas tree. It's a 6-footer. I mean, it's not one of the little bitty ones you set on top of TV. That's what my mom and dad had. I understand now why they had that. But we had a 6-footer. I got one that's kind of like an umbrella. It just opens up. You plug it in. The lights are already on it. I like that. And then I let Sue pretty well hang bulbs and things on it, whatever she wants to do. That's really, other than the things that she puts around, she has like a Christmas tablecloth, Christmas placemats, Christmas stuff that she kind of hangs around the house, to decorate a little bit. We just don't do much anymore because we don't go out for Christmas. We don't have a lot of people over for Christmas anymore. So we just don't do that much. But she does do a little. Just something to think about, too, when you move down here. Those are the kind of things that you're probably going to find yourself changing a lot on and maybe missing a little bit. Court document details how the village's plans to wring settlement from rogue realtors. They're still arguing about that. They've all been found guilty. They've all been charged with whatever. Some of the people decided just to go ahead and pay the villagers and walk away from this fiasco, and they did. Some of them, I think, or at least one I know of, regrets even doing it because they would love to have their job back with the villages. Why, I won't mention the name, but why they did what they did, I don't know. I don't work there. I don't know. I'm not condemning them for it, but they have admitted that they think it was a big mistake. They wish they had never done it, but they did. Let me read a little bit of it. A new court document details how the village's plans to wring settlement money from former sales representative who tried to compete against their former boss. Earlier this year, in a federal trial in Tampa, the villages won a $603,700 judgment against Jason Krantz and Christopher Day, former top producers for properties of the villages who broke away December 2019 to form KD Premier Realty. The pair lured away fellow properties of Village's representatives, including Nanette Elliott and Angie Taylor, who were also defendants in the legal case. Properties of the Villages, the powerful sales arm of the Villages, headed by Vice President of Sales Jennifer Parr, has had trouble collecting the money and has been attempting to garnish the assets of the former sales representative. However, a series of maneuvers complicated the efforts, including KD Premier Realty filing for bankruptcy, Day ducking a September 3rd deposition, and Taylor filing for bankruptcy. In addition, Jason and Angie Krantz, who have since relocated to a $500,000 home in Lakewood Ranch, submitted information indicating they have very little cash on hand, despite selling off several investment properties they owned in the villages. The Krantz previous bankruptcy in Minnesota was revealed at the trial in Tampa. A new court document indicates that Day will pay properties of the villages $400,000. Day will raise the cash by selling off several investment properties he owns in the villages. He will have to sell the homes to property of the villages in order to meet the court-ordered financial obligation. The closing will be provided by Peninsula Land and Title, LLC. Husband and wife Jason and Angie Krantz are apparently now selling for EXP Realty LLC down by their home in the Bradenton area. That's over by Tampa. They are barred from selling or owning real estate in the villages and must provide commission statements to prove they are not trying to resume business in Florida's friendliest hometown. The Krantz previous bankruptcy in Minnesota was revealed in the trial in Tampa. Elliott, who tearfully recalled her proud memories of selling real estate for Parr's father, Gary Morse, had agreed to pay $25,000 to settle her case with the villages. Taylor's fate with regard to property villages remains up in the air due to her bankruptcy filing. Well, I sympathize with some of the followers of Krantz and Day. I don't sympathize with Krantz and Day at all. That's just greed. The long short story was they were making something like $500,000 a piece in sales commissions working for property of the villages. By anybody's standards, that's a pretty good paycheck. And their wives, I believe, was working down there making money too, 100, 200,000 a year. That's pretty damn good. And greed gets in the way. They thought, well, we'll just start our own company and we'll just start selling these properties and keeping it all. I knew from the very beginning when this came out that this was going to be a bad fight, because I don't care what company it is. I'm not just saying the Villages. You take Disney, the Villages. This is all a product protection, and they're not going to let anybody come in here and walk all over them, especially when you go back 3-4 generations back to Harold Schwartz in that family, and they're not going to let you walk all over their family history that way. They're just not going to do it. And I agree with that. I have no problem with them at all protecting their product line. So there you go. They're going to lose. It's now I think they're just playing the game to see how little they can get by with it. Trying to hide the money by buying more expensive home or something and putting money in the house. I don't know. But we'll see how it works out. I don't know either. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how all this works out, but we'll watch. Man arrested with stolen gun after crashing in roundabout known for speeding. A man was arrested with stolen gun after crashing his car in a roundabout in the Villages known for problematic speeding. Jadale Edwards Dennis Ferguson, 21, of Wildwood, was driving a silver Toyota Corolla at 2:50 a.m. Saturday when he crashed and landed upside down in a roundabout at Warm Springs Avenue in Fenway. That came from the Wildwood Police Department. Ferguson admitted he had a .40 caliber Glock 22 underneath the driver's seat. The gun, which had a round in the chamber and 8 rounds in a magazine, had been reported stolen in Lake County. Ferguson claimed he purchased the gun last year through a private sale. He would not identify the seller. Wildwood police have been combating speeders at the roundabout where the crash occurred between the entrance of the village of Marsh Bend and the village of McClure. A 49-year-old motorcyclist died in August after crashing in that roundabout. Yeah, I reported that. I showed that. That roundabout, for some reason, they changed it a little bit. When they started adding on over around Christopher and some of them other places, there was another exit there, because the last time I went down there, or the first time I went down there, I didn't realize they'd made changes. When I went down the road I thought I was supposed to be on, I didn't recognize the area at all. And that's the newer area that everybody's buying in now, Christopher and Hawkins and all that over there. Because the last time I was down there, that was still a pasture field. They weren't doing anything yet. I got kind of misled myself. He was arrested on a felony charge of dealing in stolen property. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $5,000 bond. Wildwood commissioners clash over adding fluoride to drinking water. You know, I know they say fluoride is basically good for you in the right amounts. I mean, that's why we have toothpaste with fluoride in it. It'll be healthy for the teeth and everything. Do I know that? I'm not a chemist. I don't know. I trust what the government, I trust what the chemists, I trust what the health board, all them people, when they say it's okay, I guess it's okay. I trust what my dentist says. He says, use this with fluoride. He says, it's good for you. Okay, I just use it, right? I mean, it's what we all do. If a doctor says, stop eating this, it's better for you. Generally speaking, you stop eating that, or whatever, you know, you just do. I'm not sure about all this chemical stuff, chemicals in the water, because here's the funny thing. I've got a whole house filter, as you all know, and it takes all the chemical smells and tastes and stuff out of my water, so it's good and clean tasting again. So if they're putting chemicals in the water, I'm paying to have chemicals taken out of the water. Just think about that. Here's a little story that might find interesting. You know, the Villages developers are wanting to put apartments in Spanish Springs above the Real building. I can't remember what it's called actually, but anyway, it's an exercise place up there now. They're going to put apartments up there. They're going to put apartments in the old Katie Bell's building, which the people up there are very upset about, and I totally understand that because we have lost something there. That building was special. It was a residence-only building, and now they took that away from us. They're putting profit over the residents. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you can't look at it any other way. They say, well, we're getting a lot of demand for that. I don't really care. That building should always stayed there. It should have been for the residents, and you took it away. It's just that simple. You want to put apartments downtown? Why didn't you go in the bowling alley over there and tear it down and build them right there? Seriously. I mean, we don't need a bowling alley. It's nice to have it. But the Katie Bell's thing was a residence thing, and I just don't think that's the right thing to do. But at the same time, I didn't think it was right for them to kick everybody that had the regular Medicare insurance and stuff down here, to kick them out of the village's health system. Said if you don't have the Advantage plan, you can't be here no more. They just kicked them out. That wasn't right either, but they did. It's all a business decision. That's how corporate work. It's just across the board. They decide we're going to do this. It's across the board. That's it. Okay, a vocal critic of apartments at Spanish Springs Town Square has been chosen as Lady Lake's new mayor. Well, I guess that gives you a little bit of power, but I just sometimes wonder how much. James Rich, who lives on the historic side of the villages, was selected Monday night by his fellow commissioners who succeed Commissioner Ruth Cassard, who has served for several years as mayor. And we should say thank you, Ms. Cassard, for your service. Rich, who lives in the Lady Lake portion of the villages for the past 14 years, he moved here from Illinois. Rich, who proudly has a decal proclaiming Save Spanish Springs on the back windshield of his SUV, has been a vocal critic of the village's plan to convert portions of the original town square to apartments. He's from the historic side, so I know exactly what his opinion is about that stuff up there. And I don't say that I disagree with any of it. I still say to this day that it was wrong to do that. There's other things that the family could have done. If they're here for the residents, that just showed me right there. It was not about the residents. You know, the future of the villages is going to be more and more about profit. It is. I mean, it's just what it's going to be. It's a corporation. They got to go for profit. But that was already there, is what I'm saying. That building was already built, already there, or in good standing. It still is in good standing. That's why they're going to put apartments in there. That building was built to be there for 100 years or more. It's a nice building, and doing what they did with that really, really was a slap in the face. And an angry drinker was arrested after he was cut off by a bartender in a restaurant in the village. As Lady Lake police were called shortly before 9 p.m. Saturday to El Ranchito restaurant on the historic side of the villages after 42-year-old Tommy Jason Jenker of Leesburg began threatening staff and customers. Dude, how dumb can you be? The Michigan native reportedly threatened the bartender who cut him off, the report said. Zenker also made a finger handgun gesture at a customer at the bar and promised to wait for him outside. Well, that's easily taken care of. Hello, police? When officers arrived on the scene, they found that Zenker, Zenker, could not form a full sentence. He admitted he had consumed too much beer. Zenker became irate and uncooperative with the police. I want you to shoot me in the head, he told them. Okay. He was handcuffed and put into the back of the squad car. He began to kick the squad car's door and had to be placed in leg shackles. He also struck his head on the vehicle's fiberglass. I don't get that. Why is it that people get arrested sometimes? They get upset. Okay, I understand that. But then they start banging their head on things. What's the point? You ain't hurting nobody but yourself. He was arrested on a charge of disorderly intoxication. He was booked at Lake Sumter County Jail and released on a $500 bond. A reckless driver from Mexico was jailed after he was caught driving without a license. Juan Carlos Hernandez Diaz, 24, of Bellevue, was driving a red 2001 Ford pickup at 5:14 p.m. Saturday on Warm Springs Avenue in Coleman when a 911 caller reported his reckless driving, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. During a traffic stop, Hernandez Diaz presented the deputy with a Mexican identification card. He indicated he has never held a driver's license in the United States or Mexico. Too bad we don't have a way of checking that out. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,000 bond. How about charging him with automobile insurance? That's the law, right? And then maybe if he can't present the insurance, he don't have a driver's license, maybe you ought to tow his car in and hold it in the impound lot until he can produce both. Just a thought. Oh, here's a follow-up on a drunk driving case that I talked about here a while back because it was so ridiculous I couldn't believe it. Remember the report I did on a lady that got so drunk in a golf cart she actually took her golf cart out on the turnpike, and they finally got her to pull over the rest area and then arrested her and then had the golf cart, towed away on the turnpike. Yes, you heard me correctly. A villager who took her new golf cart for a ride on the Florida Turnpike has lost her driver's license. Carolyn Lynn Joanne Crispina, 64, who lives at 760 Kauska Way, Kauska Way, in the Fruitland Park section of the Villages, was driving a brown 2021 Yamaha golf cart at 8:15 p.m. September 4th when a road ranger spotted her traveling south on the turnpike near exit 304. The golf cart was traveling at about 25 miles per hour. The New York native was directed to the Okahumka Service Plaza, where she admitted to a trooper from the Florida Highway Patrol that she said she had about 3 drinks with dinner at Brownwood Square in the Villages, report said. She provided breath samples that registered 1.150 and 0.157 blood alcohol content. Last week in Sumter County Court, she pleaded no contest to a charge of driving under the influence. She will lose her driver's license for 6 months and has been placed on probation for 1 year. She also has been ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. She previously paid a $166 ticket, charging her with improper operation of a golf cart on a roadway. Now, the other thing is that I want to just mention here is that she's going to lose her license now for 6 months. And I don't know if Carol knows this. I don't know if she watches my videos. She probably don't. But if anybody else knows her, make sure you let her know. Now she can't even operate her golf cart legally anymore. She's not allowed to drive any motorized vehicle for 6 months. That includes the golf cart. If she decides to get in a golf cart and say, well, I don't need my car, I'll just take the golf cart and go where I want to go, look over your shoulder. Don't get caught, because if you do, it's going to be bad. That being said, I've done my good deed for today. Odell Recreation Center and pool to be closed through mid-December. Okay. That being said, I'm going to get out of here. And always remember what I always say, don't leave your keys in the golf cart.